Well, hello, good people, and welcome to Wes's Kitchen. I am Wes, your creative culinary connoisseur, and today I'll be showing you one of my many recipes for how I make my famous green beans. As you can see, this dish does not require a whole lot of ingredients, and it is very easy to make. So easy that it would be extremely hard for a beginner cook to mess this up. So please, feel free to sit back, relax, and watch as I turn these simple ingredients into a tasty dish. Now, this recipe for green beans would be considered my level 1 recipe, meaning that it's the easiest recipe and that it requires the least amount of effort while still being tasty. It is not necessarily the best. I will save that best recipe for another video. But for this recipe, you will need a 101 ounce can of string beans, 2 cans of chicken broth, 1 packet of Lipton Onion Soup mix, 1 stick of salted butter, 1 packet of bacon bits, and your preferred seasonings, which in this video will be salt, pepper, and some garlic powder. Now, as you can see, I have the Kroger brand string beans, which are good, but if we're talking about quality, then I think that Del Monte has the best canned string beans. I also think that Food Lion has probably the worst quality string beans, because a lot of their canned string beans are really stringy. I don't think it really matters what brand chicken broth, bacon bits, or butter that you get. But before I get into this recipe, there are 3 pointers that I want to share. 1, if you have issues with high blood pressure and you want to decrease the amount of sodium in your green beans, then you can substitute the regular chicken broth and salted butter for reduced chicken broth and regular butter. 2, the cost of this dish is anywhere between $10 and $15, depending on which ingredients you may already have around your kitchen. And 3, this dish will produce enough food to feed anywhere between 10 and 20 people. So let's start cooking. First things first, you want to put your pot on the stove, open up your cans of chicken broth, pour them into the pot, pour your packet of Lipton's onion soup mix into the pot, and once all of those ingredients are nicely incorporated in there, then you want to turn the stove on to medium-high heat. As that's heating up, you want to add your bacon bits into the mix. But before you add those bacon bits, you definitely want to remove the packets that are inside the bacon bits, because if you don't, they will definitely come out into the mixture. Now, as the pot continues to heat up, you want to take that stick of butter and just drop that bad boy in it. Several minutes will pass and you will notice that the pot will come to a boil. This is when you open up your canned string beans, drain them of all the liquid, then pour the beans into the pot. I know that from the looks of things, there's very little broth and a whole lot of string beans in the pot, but as the pot begins to heat up, it'll draw out all the liquid that was absorbed by the string beans in the can, making the liquid in the pot more leveled. See, folks, just trust the process. Now, as the string beans are at a boil, then you want to add your seasonings. I start with a very generous amount of garlic powder, followed by a generous amount of black pepper, and if you're cooking this dish, you can add however much or however little of these seasonings that you like. But for me, I love tons of flavor. Now, I know that I have salt as one of my seasonings, but I will not use salt at this point. And this is because that there's already plenty of salt from the existing ingredients, and I would typically use the salt after the green beans finish cooking, just in case I want the final product to be a little bit more salty than it already is. But as the green beans continue to cook, I take a big spoon and mix the pot, and I want to make sure that all the seasonings are nicely incorporated throughout the dish. The next part is optional. If you are somebody who likes a very soupy green beans, then at this point you would want to put a cover on the pot, reduce the temperature to simmer, and let them cook for a minimum of 1 hour. But as for me, I like to reduce the amount of broth in the green beans, especially if I have to transfer the dish to another location like I did for this batch. So in order to reduce the broth, I'm going to leave the green beans uncovered, reduce the heat to medium, and let them cook for an hour. So now that we're back, the beans are all but finished cooking and ready to be transferred to an aluminum pan. This is when I give the green beans a quick stir so that the remaining broth in the pot gets to coat all the green beans at the top. I'm finally finished cooking the green beans, or am I? This is when I introduce my secret ingredient, which is essentially optional to all those out there. The secret ingredient is liquid smoke. If you add this to your green beans, it's guaranteed to send the flavor profile over the edge. I personally like how the liquid smoke complements the butter, the chicken broth, and the hickory smoked bacon bits. But you add several dashes of the liquid smoke to the beans, give it a good mix, and there you have it. Oh yeah, before I forget, I need to taste the dish just to make sure that it doesn't need any more additional salt. And from the taste of things, we're good to go. All that's left to do is to transfer the green beans into the aluminum pan, spread the greens out evenly, put a lid on the bad boy, and the most important part of the cooking process, the cleanup. What I like about these aluminum pans is that once the top is on, the beans will stay warm for at least 2 hours. But wasn't that fairly easy? With this being my first video on the cooking channel, I want to thank everyone that came out to check it out. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, so I plan to post a few more videos that showcase tasty soul food dishes, as well as videos that can showcase tasty dishes that can be made for any occasion. But I would like to hear from all of you out there. What do you think about this recipe? Have you ever made string beans like this before? Will you want to try this recipe out? Feel free to leave your comments below in the comment section, and I'll respond to everybody. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.